Chag Sameach, everybody. It's Purim, which means it's time to make Hamentashen. So tonight, I'm going to show you my recipe from my new book, Kosher Revolution. I'm Geila Hocherman. I have here, we're going to start with fillings. I have 3 prepared fillings for you. I have a raspberry with walnut, a poppy seed with blackcurrant, and a strawberry with almond paste. And right now, we're going to make apricot with dried cranberries. I've taken dried cranberries and I've put them in boiling water, and now they've cooled and they've plumped up. So I'm going to drain them. And I'm going to add my drained cranberries to my jam. This is a 1 12-ounce jar of jam, a half a cup of cranberries. And then we're going to add the secret ingredient, a 1/4 cup of plain breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs sounds counterintuitive, but what happens is that when it's cooking, this will prevent the jam from spreading, and it will hold your filling together because the breadcrumbs will soak up any excess liquid that the jam is giving off. Once that's done, I take a ready-made pastry bag, but feel free to use a Ziploc bag, anything you have in the house. I mean, you can also just spoon it onto your Hamentashen dough, but I find that it's much better if you don't have to lick your fingers between each Hamentashen that you make. And I've put a rubber band on the cup. I remove the filling, just like that. Push it down, twist, and then I take the rubber band and seal the bag. I then put everything into the refrigerator until my dough is ready to be filled. Everything I make when I'm doing Hamentashen, each element, I like to refrigerate before using it again. It gives the filling time to soak up some of the moisture, and it gives the dough time to rest so that it's more pliable. Be back in a minute with the dough. Now we're going to make the dough. The first thing we do is we take a half a cup of oil and 3/4 of a cup of sugar into the mix master. We want to blend that thoroughly. And then we're going to add our eggs. Add your eggs one at a time until each becomes incorporated. I'm using Eggland's Best Eggs. They've been pre-checked in case anybody is wondering. Now it's time to add vanilla, and I've discovered a new product that I love. It's not vanilla extract, it's vanilla paste. It's a syrup with a suspension of vanilla bean in it, but if you don't have that, please use vanilla extract. Slow your machine down so that it doesn't pour, and in goes a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. Once that's nicely incorporated, I'm going to put in 2½ cups of flour and 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. But do it slowly or you will have a mess. Ta-da! And that's really all there is to it. You give it 1 or 2 good whirls and it will start pulling away from the edge of the bowl. And this is what you have left. Scrape down your beater, of course. Give it to somebody to lick. And then what I like to do is take it all out, take it all out, put it in plastic, and let it sit in the refrigerator just until it firms up a little bit. So I just wrap it in plastic, just like that, and that's your dough. It depends on how experienced you are at this. You can make it very thin and very crispy. It will be much harder to close them up. So for today, I'm going to leave them relatively thick, sort of the quick method. And it might need an extra minute to bake, but it will, for sure, if you're working with children, make sure that you make the dough thicker. If you're working with just by yourself, you can go ahead and make it thinner. And you see, I'm just using my cookie cutter dipped in flour, the same flour, bench flour that I used before rolling out my dough so that it doesn't stick. But you can use a glass dipped in flour. You don't have to have a cookie cutter. And then you remove your scrap. Normally I would probably keep rolling the dough out until it was all ready, but today I think we're just going to go right ahead and fill. So when I'm working with the dough, especially when it's soft or a little warm, what I like to do before I fill it is flip each piece. So I take a floured spatula and just flip each piece so that it's not sticking to the countertop or your pastry board if you have a pastry board. It couldn't be simpler. Just takes a little patience, because when you start making these, they're so good, I end up having to make hundreds every year. We're going to use the filling that I showed you how to make before. At this point, you would cut the pastry bag. Because we have cranberries in this one, we're going to have to cut it up a little bit higher, because otherwise the cranberries will get stuck in the hole and then it's a pain. So let's see how this works. Now, when you're filling, it's best not to put the filling exactly in the center, but a little closer to one edge, what I like to call the top edge. About that much. Works very well. You can use 2 hands, that's allowed. And then I'm not going to do them all, but to close them, there's 2 ways to do it. If your dough is very, very soft, just pinch and then lift the back up and pinch, just like that. If your dough is a little drier, or you want them really to look picture perfect, take a brush with a little bit of water, brush the edges. I'm very Martha Stewart doing this. And then do the same thing. You pinch one corner together, and then you lift the back flap up and pinch it together. And that's all there is to it. Pinch together. Pinch together. And this is a moment when I really would encourage child labor. Call your kids in and have them help you. It's a lot of fun. And it gives them a lot of anticipation about the Purim spiel that's coming up and the Mishloach Manot they're going to be putting together and they're going to be receiving. It's a lot of fun. Once we're done forming all of them, we simply put them on a cookie sheet and put them in the oven. This recipe will make about 3 dozen Hamentashen. I usually double it and have 2 fillings just ready to go. Well, now they're done, they're all formed, and they're ready to go into a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 14 to 17 minutes, depending on how thick your dough is and how humid it is. Okay, they're ready. It's time to take them out of the oven. Ooh, beautiful. Now, Hamentashen, you don't make very brown. This is the right color, just a pale blonde. I'd love to eat one in front of you right now, but I would just burn my mouth off. These need to be cool on a wire rack or on a cool counter. And you see they just fall straight off of the parchment paper. So that's Hamentashen. Feel free to make them however you want with this dough, dairy, parve, doesn't matter. Just have fun. Happy Purim, Chag Sameach. Bye.